All right, the formula for slope, and basically you found slope by counting and reducing fractions from the graph, but sometimes you're not always gonna have a graph available, and sometimes drawing graphs might be a little tedious in order to find slope. So there's a way that you can do it. There's a slope formula, and it's basically the same thing that we were saying, the change of y over the change in x, except this time we're going to label our x1, y1. And here's the thing, it doesn't matter which one I label. So I can either label one or the other x1, y1, and the other one x2, y2. And it'll work either way. So if that's confusing to you, that's fine. Let's just work it out. Let me show you how it works. This is my equation, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. The little sub ones are just to label which one is my first set, which point am I starting at, and which point am I ending at. Okay? It doesn't matter if I start here. I just have to make sure that this is x1, y1. I can't make this x1 and then y2. Like this, the little subscripts have to match. So I'm just going to label it, and it's just easier for your brain to keep organized if you just go ahead and write down the points and then label them. So that way there's no mistakes. So x1, y1, and then x2, y2. So once I have these labeled, all I need to do is plug it in, because it's focusing on my change of y, and then how much x changes, right? So y2 is 1 minus 5 over x2, which is 8, minus 2. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4. 8 minus 2 is 6. This can be reduced because I can divide top and bottom by 2. Okay? This can be reduced to negative 2 over 3. Right? And I did that without a graph. Right? So in this case, it's saying to find slope 4x minus 2y equals 16. Well, I don't have 2 points here, but I do know from section 4.2 that I know how to find intercepts. Okay? And intercepts means that one letter is a 0. So let's say that I'm going to find the x-intercept. So I'm going to put in, if I'm finding the x-intercept, that means I have a number x, but then my y is 0. So I'm going to plug it in. I'm not going to plug in x, I'm going to plug in y. Because the x-intercept, the y is 0. So I end up with this negative 2 times 0 is 0. So I end up with 4x equals 16. Divide by 4, I end up with x equals 4. So that means my x-intercept is 4, 0. That's 1 point. Okay? My next one is the y-intercept. And this one is a 0 for x, but then some number for y. Right? So then I have here the equation 4, and I'm going to put 0 in for x this time, and I'm solving for y. So 4 times 0 is 0, so I end up with negative 2y equals 16. Divide both sides by negative 2. This cancels out, and I end up with y equals negative 8. So this is negative 8. Now I have 2 points. With my 2 points, I can then label and plug in. This is my x1, y1. This is my x2, y2, and I'm going to plug it in. Y2 is first, so negative 8, minus y1, which is 0. Sometimes when you're in a rush, you might mix up the numbers. That's why it's very important, I can't stress enough, that you're labeling. Okay, the y1, the x1, y1, the x2, y2. And then over x2, which is 0, and x1, which is 4, so minus x1. So I end up with negative 8 minus 0 is negative 8 over negative 4, and because I can divide both top and bottom by 4, negative 8 divided by negative 4, it should be a whole number, which is positive 2. So that means, because this is a whole number, that means my slope is going up 2 over 1 every time, up 2 over 1, because the whole number, any whole number put in a fraction is over 1. So go ahead and try page 257, numbers 2 and 8, 257, numbers 2 and 8, and I will see you in class.